Alright, everyone, for watching. Thank you for joining us on this new adventure that we're going on called Inside the Caravan. If you don't know, our email for Casting Fate is castingfatecaravan@gmail. So there's a little bit of wordplay on the caravan aspect. Part of the show is us talking about what's going on in Imora and some of the sessions. A lot of times after our session, we end up talking a decent amount.
Like an hour.
Yeah.
An hour plus.
Sometimes, yeah. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's a bunch of bullshit. So I will be tagging part of that into these episodes, or maybe something completely different. If they're really long, I may just make them like Patreon only kind of benefits, or vice versa. Maybe do like a reaction after a session, and we'll keep D&D discussion on Patreon, flip it around. You know, we talk so much about D&D, we rarely share it. So this is just a nice way of us continuing to nerd out. I don't know. Here we go, though. Now, we do have a legitimate hour after session 20, which comes out tonight at 6. So this will obviously come out after that, so we can talk about that a little bit if you wanted to, or I can just tag that in. Or we can kind of talk about the other things that I sent you guys in the list.
Which session 20?
Yeah, if you wanted to. I mean, we have our initial reactions of you guys in Plagel and then making it to the boat.
Yeah, we can talk about whatever, dude. I'm down to talk about anything. We can do a quick debrief if you want to. But I mean, my character is pretty much MIA still, you know, so I can only speak on the perspective of Baron Sunblade.
Well, that's okay. So, Baron Sunblade. We're talking about Neartal and bringing up Bren.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what the fuck is going on with Baron Sunblade and Daniel the Kind.
Gentle.
Daniel the Gentle. Yeah. Yeah, it was, I think me and Caleb were talking about, like, when we were going into the Luca storyline, like, whenever Luca would have his flip moment, that, like, what was gonna be the story after that, like, what was it gonna look like. So it was like, Luca does his betrayal moment, and then that was like when we were hitting our Christmas break, our holiday break, so it was like a period of time was going to be passing in our real life. In the time moment of the story, you know, you're kind of just starting right at the exact moment where it ended. So even though we had taken a month off, if you listen to the audios, then it's like it doesn't feel like a lot of time had passed.
Mm-hmm.
So we were brainstorming, and I was like, we had a couple different routes we could go. It was like Luca could come back that first episode back. He could have some kind of like escape, or it's like he could be taken away with Theodoric and be gone for like a session or two so that you guys, the players, would feel the absence of Luca in the story. And so then it was like, what the fuck am I gonna do as a player? So we did talk about me like legit not being here, which would be like, it would have a moment of like, oh my god, this is really happening. But I think once you guys started playing, it would be weird. It was like, it would just be you and Kristen as the party members. I wouldn't be here for like a session or two, which in our time, you know, we record bi-weekly. So that's like a whole month of me not playing with you guys. I feel like I lose charisma with the party with you guys. So I was like, I wouldn't be involved. So maybe I could be like an NPC that Caleb assigns to us. Like, we were trying to figure it out.
I like what you guys did with it.
Yeah.
I definitely like the route that you took with him disappearing for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, well, I'm just gonna say that I like it. I don't want to like cut your story off.
I was about to, because like we pretty much summarized, like I was gonna be another NPC, and it was like, am I gonna be here for one session or half a session? And Luca comes back, and then Caleb had told me like what his further plans were, like his general plans. He doesn't tell me details. He's just like, well, like, you know, eventually they'll end up here. You know, this would be a point where we could reintroduce Luca. So if you want to take a session or two to be an NPC, because like when I made Baron's character sheet, I was just like, I did not really plan my character. Like I didn't
feel
do
like
a
you
deep
just
dive.
took Bren and put him someplace else.
We came up with I think we came up with the idea of like 2 guys that would
Which
go
I
with
love
you
though.
guys.
I love
yeah.
what you did.
2 knights that would help escort you guys safely.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, dude, what if we did like a little bit of lore, like this is, and I don't know if we ever explained it in the campaign, so maybe that was like a fault on ours where, or like immersion, we lost some immersion, but it was like in the timeline, because like the Brenler Wolf thing was like 100 years ago or something like that.
Actually, I was looking at that just the other day.
Wolf would
And
definitely be dead by the point.
yeah,
Brenler.
it was
He'd be long
I
dead.
think they all be dead. Maybe not.
75 years past of when the other guys landed on Imora, or like when the world
Yeah.
switched back to Imora.
Yeah.
So 75 years plus, however old Brenler was to begin with.
He was in his 30s, so he'd be like 100 something, so he'd probably be dead.
Yeah, we talked about it. You did say like he would have died
But
Yeah.
didn't he like transcend or some shit? Like become a god essentially?
at one point when
He
held
did,
all
but
the
then he
power.
came back to be with the rest of the crew, and then he kind of like pretty much retired.
Yeah.
But like he probably, in my mind, had some kind of, there was some kind of like order of knights created, or if you want to say he was already a holy knight, so that order that he was in kind of just kept carrying on, with the emphasis on which gods they follow. And so these guys that me and Caleb were playing were like just 2 random knights that were doing their job. Like it wasn't like a deep lore dive, but it was like, so they're gonna mention like little Neratol things here and there because that's what they follow.
Mhm.
And
It's just cool hearing Neratol again because we
Yeah.
haven't heard any of the old gods.
yeah,
This whole campaign.
yeah,
So-
yeah. It was kind of weird for me too to talk about it because I'm
Yeah.
like, I think I realized at the end of the last session, episode 20, I was starting to act like Brenler just straight up, and I was like, I don't want to be Brenler, but I think I just got too wrapped up in the character, especially after the games
Yeah.
we were doing, like the drinking game where he got really drunk. I was like, I think that's when I kind of
You were Brenler.
twisted myself back into Brenler. And because I was like, dude, after the session, I was like, dude, I OD'd on like the voice and everything, but I don't know, you know, it's just to get the story going. It's like a little whatchamacall, like an Easter egg type shit,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, that's what I liked about it. And I mean, you guys doing that allowed my character and Kristen's character to kind of develop a little bit more of a bond.
Yeah.
And I think because like with my character, I've just been kind of very aloof and detached
Mhm.
from the group pretty aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
And with all this happening, I feel like it's going to create more of a bond with Kristen's character, which down the road, when your character, when or if, I'm not saying anything, comes back, there's going to be like, it's going to be like a reintroduction of drama and a different dynamic.
Yeah.
But then it's going to be like the black sheep coming back in kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And it'll be, I don't know, I think it's going to be potentially a pretty cool opportunity. And I don't know, that's future.
It's gonna be cool. I'm low key nervous as bringing my character back because now it's like I've been gone for 2 sessions as my actual player, and I'm like, dude, like I have to basically, like, I've betrayed. Like, how do I get back into the good, or at least on agreeable terms where we're not trying to kill each other? I was like, that in itself is a challenge.
Dude, that's.
And it's like,
it's my character. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna handle that because me as Eric, I'm like, yay, Luca's back. Like, yay, Seven's back.
right.
But playing Andor, the character, I'm like, there was one point where I was like, we were at the table. It was during that big fight. What was it? The big fight where the pop happened and all that stuff happened.
Like when y'all are captured?
In the field.
Yeah, when we were captured.
Yeah.
So
When you met Pronto.
yeah, there was one point where I was like torn between myself Eric, and the character
Yeah.
Andor to be like, I could straight up shoot this motherfucker right now.
Yeah.
He's already taken damage, and I'm like, I could hit him, and I could hit him hard, and I'm like, it's so difficult because that's where it comes down to, like, me as the player. I'm like, no, I don't want to, like, just kill somebody's character. You wouldn't be killed, but I don't want to, like, do that, attack your character. But is Andor the character, and be like, he'd be very, like, oh, now's my chance. Like, opportunistic.
Yeah,
like, he's very opportunistic. So he'd be like, oh, now's my chance to just fucking kill this guy. And just kill him. So, but that's where...
That would have been answer.
Dude, I mean, I kind of, like, I understand the duality you're talking about, but, because, like, on one hand, in that moment, you were, like, at the table thinking about doing it, and I'm, like, low-key in my head, I'm like, do it, shoot this motherfucker. Like, he deserves it.
Dude,
but then it's like, well, if I get you know, knocked unconscious from taking, because I had like 30 health left or something, and
you definitely would have died.
Yeah, you would have killed me. But then what would happen is, like, you would have been taken out, and then the pop would have pulled me still. So then it's like, I don't even know. Like, that would have been, me and Caleb would have had to figure that out, you know. So it's like new. You know, that's why I like to play on your try your best to play on your character's motives.
Yeah.
You know, or like how your character will react.
Yeah, and that was just a difficult situation because I'm like, I know how my character would react, and he'd be fuming. He would straight up want to kill you.
Yeah.
But in the moment, me as like the person, as the player, was like, okay, this is Andor would either kill him or Andor would have some other motive. What is more important? Getting that fucking bow back was more important to him than killing you.
Yeah.
So that's why I was just like, oh, that's a good scapegoat. So I won't attack Luca because his priority is getting his shit back.
Yeah.
His bow and daggers were like his primary thing.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got out of that situation, there's too much going on. He would be like, it wouldn't be a fight or flight. He'd be like trying to skedaddle as quickly as possible and regroup.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, there's my scapegoat. I'm not gonna do it.
It still played out fine, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
The only thing I regret is trying to throw. I should have thrown Moreland into the fire. I was like gonna throw him in the fire, and then I think I psyched myself out because I think I second guessed myself because Moreland was like walking up to me initially. He was like walking up to me, and I was like, "This dude's gonna attack me."
Yeah, I thought that was so funny.
And I don't know why I panicked, and
well, you made your choice.
So we were just going at it, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking just burn this dude alive. And then I second guessed myself because it was a disadvantage, I think. And then I was like, don't know if I make that.
Well, I think it plays into your character's backstory well too, without going like diving in too much of your own, like Luca or Sev's shit. Like your relationship with Moreland isn't just like some random dude.
Yeah,
so I think it. Had you had done that, I'm like, bold move. I'm like, oh.
Well, I think that was your reaction in game.
Kind
you were like,
of.
Wow. I was like, shit, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. I think that's what threw me off.
No. I kind of expected you to resist and fight.
Right.
But I kind of expected more of a discussion, and you just kind of went in on it. So I'm like, which is fair because we're role playing, and so sometimes when I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's coming up at you like with interest, in my brain I'm like, interest to team up together, and you're like, interest, fuck that guy. It makes sense, and sometimes how you interpret it, it's just the way that it gets interpreted, and that happens in real life too. I'm like, how often does someone like, I don't know, they reacted so unexpectedly. I'm like, well, maybe you didn't see it the way they did.
Or it's like a split-second decision. Happens in real life, happens in game.
Yeah.
So I think that's my way, or the way that Luca ends up doing what he does. Because he's like, I don't know what the fuck's about to happen. I'm about to beat your ass. Like, because I'm panicking right now. Because, you know, Theodoric just cut a dude in half or whatever the fuck he did to the... Davy Junko. He just straight up murked that guy. And I'm like, shit. Because I think my original plan was I don't know why I thought I was gonna be able to just deal with Moreland. If I threw him in the fire, I was gonna go straight for Theodoric.
Interesting.
And I was like, I'm probably gonna get my ass clapped. And
Dude, you'd be dead.
and then I see this dude get chopped in half, and I'm like, shit. You know? And so I'm like, I'm just gonna do a Moreland a little bit more and fucking fuck around with him.
Yeah.
But, dude.
For me, this whole situation was figuring out how to put together a session. Period. Because normally in this situation, if you have someone like betray you, stuff like that, you're trying to run away, there's like all this high intensities, you guys still hadn't taken a long rest.
I know, dude.
And so there's all this stuff going on, and like, you can't just have a session where it's just 3 hours of role playing, but that's what real life would have been. Like, the moment you got safe, you're like, no, bitch, we need to talk.
Yeah.
we need to figure out what the fuck is going on. So, like, it was difficult to come up with, like, what are engaging ways to keep them moving that play along with like ability checks and rolls, but at the same time gives up. It was a bit of a challenge. Boats.
Boats.
There's your answer.
Boats, baby.
Oh my god, dude, I'm excited though. Aside from that, just the lack of future planning of all of this between us still makes me laugh a lot. Because the idea was there, and we talked a lot, but it was always just like, all right, here's the next session. What are we going to do? Kind of thing. And I'm like, all right, well, it was cool to learn better planning. I guess for me is the best way of saying that. But I think it's gone well. And it is, like Eric mentioned this a while back, the very interesting dynamic, the difference between the other guys who were just like a
one
group.
unit, bro.
Yeah.
One exact unit, yeah.
And now this one is like, not only is the world very different and y'all's hero-esque is very different, but now even like the vibe between everyone is different.
Honestly, I have no fucking clue how the next session's gonna go, because I'm like, I don't even know how I'm gonna act. Or like, I have an idea of what I'm gonna say, but it's like, dude, I have no clue how our party is going to be going forward, because you guys are going to have so much distrust in me that, which it adds like a complexity to the group, that it's like, I don't even know how I'm going to act. Like, because now I'm fucking tweaking, you know? Because my own actions.
Because my own actions.
Yeah, like I did this to myself. Now I'm having regret. But yeah, the party is so different, man. And the players that we're playing are completely different. Your character, my character. Watson and Ivory, I think they have similarities, but they are, like, you know, they have their differences as well.
Of course.
So.
I'm excited.
But yeah.
This game's fun, and the challenge that it always presents is half the fun.
I am enjoying playing Monk, though. I think I'm enjoying Monk more than Paladin, actually, honestly.
Dude, you've been a terror with your monk.
Well, I watched the
Figuring
thing
out
is
the
about
stun locks and shit,
Yeah.
just like pop pop stun, pop pop stun. Pop, pop,
yeah,
stun.
to the point of where, like, when I'm doing it, I'm like, am I allowed to keep doing this? And it's like, it's fair in the rules.
Yeah.
And it's like, am I allowed to just keep fucking doing this? Like, it feels wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to, whoop, you're stunned. Because I think I'll stun, like, if you have a big tank, I'll just keep stunning them, turn after turn. And it takes 2 turns for you to get out of your stun. I can just keep stunning you if I want to.
Oh yeah.
Which is like, I don't know if that's like metagaming or whatever, where it's like you can't do anything for the entire combat.
It doesn't. It's not like metagaming or breaking the rules. It's more so like, well, the DM knows that your character is capable of that. So if he consistently creates encounters that have no ability to get out of that at least one time, I mean, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
So-
I don't feel guilty. It's just, normally I'll do something where I'll pull something like I'll stun someone, and then it's like, in my head, it's like, I kind of want to do something different now. Like, I kind of want to...
Oh, yeah.
Like, and then I'll just... So I have the potential to just keep doing the same turn over, but I just, like mixing it up, because I'm just, like, my brain is that way. And so I'll normally mix it up, and then, you know, I'll get myself in a predicament where I'm like, shit! And I just, like, get knocked across the map or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, rest assured, you keep keep stunting on me, I'm gonna fucking knock your ass across the map for sure.
Yeah.
And not so much just out of just like, how dare you do that to me, but like, let's add new breath to the fight kind of
For
thing.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, in campaign 1 with Wolf, I'd be up on your ass with any encounter, just wailing as hard as I could. And I was like, I need to check that because eventually he's going to do something that's going to like. Like, you'll just create a character that's got some special ability that's like the complete opposite of what Wolf is, and it would just like ruin my day. So I'm like, I've got to like check this. Like, I can come into a fight and swing hard for one round, and then the next couple rounds I need to just feel it out and see what's going on and not just keep swinging hard.
I did do that. The tree guy absorbed all your power.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
dude, that is true.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
Killed this guy.
Dude,
I
knock me
figured
off a cliff.
something like that. And then when we ran into the big bad,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, but I think that was like I want to say it was a mild miscalculation on your part, but I think you thought you would like knock me unconscious on the first hit,
Yeah, a little bit more probably.
and it took like 2 or 3 hits.
You
I was
had a
like,
lot of HP.
That motherfucker has a lot of HP. He has like over
Yeah.
200 points of health at that point.
Plus, I mean, the way that it goes,
Mm-hmm.
you roll the dice, see how it happens.
Yeah, and that was part of it too. I didn't think you hit as hard as you had wanted to.
Yeah.
So.
I know. Well, see, the thing is, like, if I jump up the dice or the amount of damage, so I'm in a nice range to hit. If I happen to go too far and like crit or whatever, I'm like, bro, that's an insane amount of damage that I'm about to do. I'm like, and then I get like, am I prepared to like? And at the end of a campaign, no, I'm not prepared. At least not a few sessions before the end to like destroy. So I'm like, we're getting. Plus, as a baby DM, I'm like, I don't know. Different in this situation now. I think likewise when you were talking about with him shooting Luca, you're like, do it.
Yeah. I mean, because I kind of like not spontaneous, but like having to adapt quickly in a situation. I think that's what makes D&D a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
Is like someone does something that you are not expecting, or it's like story takes a left turn and it's like, well, fuck, what am I doing now?
Yeah.
Like, and then you have to like actually sit there and like process what the fuck you're gonna do. I don't know. I like when shit like that happens, but if it happens too much, obviously it's like it gets worn out. But when it happens at the right time, it's like, this is why I play this shit. It's so fun.
That was the whole Luca betrayal reveal for me.
Yeah.
Like at the end, right before the break, I was just like, I was like, I want to play tomorrow.
Yeah, dude.
Kind of stuff.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, if every session was like that, I'd be like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
every session's gonna blow my mind melt, and I just can't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have the silly games and random, like, not threat of the entire world on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a bit of a challenge. I think one of the notes I have on it is, like, rolling with it for roleplay, and, like, how much... I'll put rolling too much, but that's digital, and, Anyway, rolling with it with the roleplay is how much of knowing your character would do something specific versus like understanding you're playing a game and you have to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a bit of a. You do have to metagame at some point a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of it, being a good team player and understanding that if you create a character in a group that's just a fucking dickhead the entire time, no one's going to want to play with you, and you're not going to want to play the game. So, like,
Yeah.
the same thing with me putting together a lesson is knowing, like, how to keep you guys interested without it being too much, and likewise for you playing.
Yeah, I think I talk about that. I keep talking about it because it's just so, like, with my character compared to and the last campaign, and how they're just two polar opposites of each other. Which I think that was the conversation that me and you had, like when we were planning everything out, and I was like, hey, I kind of like might have a sick story arc for my guy. Like we were talking about, if I do like a more, less enthusiastic character, or like he's like he's more reserved. He's kind of got a negative attitude at times. I was like, I don't know how it's gonna play out. Like, we'll just see. Compared to Brendan, he's like Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky, best friends with everybody.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Except for the NPCs.
Yeah, except for.
You didn't like any of them.
Yeah. Well, Brendan, he's a picky guy sometimes. I don't know, but that was part of that's part of the like when you get into the game, it's like, well, this is my dude. Like, I gotta adapt and make sure I can still work with my party members to where it's enjoyable for them and like not miserable to, oh, this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've had to. I don't know. I think I've tweaked his character a little bit. Initially, how I started into now, because like I think he's a little bit more talkative now. Because like you can't have the character. You can't have multiple characters of the same party where it's like everybody's like the quiet guy.
Oh yeah.
Because then it's like who's talking, who's role playing. It's like we're doing it. Then it's like you step outside of the game. It's like we're supposed to be doing a podcast, YouTube video. Like we have to have some form of entertainment, performance for all that. So it's like you have to be aware of personalities. Like you have to start talking. There has to be dialogue formed and shit. And
absolutely.
So that's one of the things with Luca that I was like, man, like I need to talk more. Like he can't just be sitting in the corner the whole time, you know what I'm saying, and just not doing shit because he's like Mr. fucking rain cloud over his head, you know what I'm saying? So I've had to tweak him a little bit, but I still think I have the general concept of what I wanted the character to be, because he'll still be like mopey and not gropey.
Mopey
not
and
gropey.
Well, take a left turn.
He'll be mopey and like Mr. Pessimistic is a good way to say it.
Yeah.
Like where one of them will ask me something, or they'll try and get me to do something, or an NPC will, and I'm just like super rude to them or whatever, or blow them off, and then there's like, oh, like they don't know what to say, and it's like, well, that's my character. Like, how are you gonna deal with that too, so
yeah.
In terms of just rolling with it,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you're pretty good as a player rolling with it.
Yeah. Well,
all three of you are, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone steps up when they have to, when they need to, because like if like Eric is just formulating, you can tell he's formulating shit in his head.
I've always got a plan.
Yeah, he's planning multiple steps ahead. Me and Kristen are doing a little RP, trying to get like walking through an area, and it's like we have to make a decision. It's like, all right, we need to make a decision to keep the game going forward, because if there's too many low spots of where it's like we're just bouncing around talking to each other with not a lot of substance in the dialogue, then it's like we just need to keep moving,
absolutely.
But more dialogue will come. And then if I'm taking a step back reading something or whatever, then like Eric will step in like when he needs to, or like Eric, like especially for Luca being gone, Eric and Kristen have had to step up a lot more, because Baron Sunblade plays a more minimal role as far as whose dialogue is more important. You know what I'm saying? So the past two sessions I've had to, or I've literally caught myself being like, just wait and see what they say, because it's their story. It's not Baron's story. It's like I'm just an NPC.
That's a good point.
So I think they've done a really good job though.
Yeah, you guys have.
And I do like on the last couple sessions, like I was saying earlier, it's allowed my character to kind of develop some kind of bond with the group, because like right off the rip, the first like 1 or 2 sessions, I was just like, fuck you guys, I'm out of here.
Right.
And I've tried to kind of keep that like really aloof mentality with Andor, because I mean he before the group was on his own and did his own thing.
Yeah.
And now with the group, it's kind of like, well, why am I here? And then, and now that there's like, it's just him and Ivory, it's kind of like an opening where I can be like, okay, well, if I'm not here for you, I can at least be here for her.
Yeah.
and then whatever develops in the future
Mm.
can be the future. And it was just like, oh my god, the fucking lead up to the betrayal, because it was finally like I was finally letting
He was letting his walls down.
Yeah, I was
He was
finally
he was
letting
opening up the gates.
the Andor like wall that I put up with your character
Uh-huh.
to kind of ease a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was letting I was kind of trying to make like little jabs at you every time. Like I'd try and have like little micro competitions
Yeah.
with you and crap like that and poke fun at you all the time.
Mm.
Is like okay, I'm accepting you a little bit more in my world, and then all that happened, and now Andor's like, this is why I don't this is why I don't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Because like his backstory, 100%, what you've just done is like that's like PTSD, like psychotherapy trigger for my character, and now he sees you as like a legitimate like I need to kill this guy. So yeah, and it's like whatever comes of the future, that's why I was so fucking close to attacking you, because I'm like, Andor would do that. Nothing's gonna change in the future. If anything, it's even more hyper vigilant, because now he's like developing some kind of like friendship with Ivory, so he's like, okay, well, I'm not just on my own anymore. I gotta like watch out best interests of the group. So
Yeah.
and that's where it's like if you just pop up again, but then again, he's like he knows you're a shapeshifter, so that brings a whole nother level of fuckery to it, because now it's like hyper vigilant. So,
Well, did you guys think that Baron was Luca?
no.
Okay. I was wondering if that was
It
going
was-
to be the first thought.
Yeah.
Is the first session back. Now that you guys knew that I was a changeling, that like it was like anybody that I was, like
Yeah.
you guys were gonna be like, it's Luca. He's gonna show up like in this. He's just gonna change shape. And I was like, I wonder if that's what they think about Baron.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I was curious about that too.
The way that I interpreted it as a player and as me personally, and character-wise and everything, one, Luca wouldn't have just popped up so quickly. And two, you can change your face, you can change your appearance, you can't dramatically alter your personality. Eventually something will slip or something will be different.
Yeah.
Realistically, like it's just there are some characteristics of your persona that you cannot change.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you can't go at this point more than probably 3 hours without smoking a cigarette. So
Yeah, that's true.
they're like, oh wait, is that tobacco?
That's true, bro. Honestly, the cigarette thing, I didn't even mean it for it to be a thing. It was just like, I think when we were first starting out, it was like the tobacco who's the tobacco person that?
It was Deidre Tubak.
Yeah, Deidre Tubak. She was like, oh yeah, my family owns tobacco. I'm like, dude, well, I got an in on the tobacco. I can just load up, you know, and just like have cigarettes anytime I wanted to. That was like never a thought that crossed my mind when I was making the character like never even considered it. And then it was just like, it's like he picked up a habit.
Yeah.
It's like low-key, like, you know, like a couple stress cigarettes here or there, and then it's just like, dude, he just starts smoking. Like, now it's like implemented in his personality now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just like something fun that I think has happened with the character over time.
It's fun when you see unexpected versions kind of pop up at a character that you've created. Like, oh, did not see that coming. Like, I don't know why I didn't plan it, but I don't know why I would have. But here it is. Like, it takes a life on its own, and it's really neat. As your character should, I think. Same thing goes with the NPCs that I get to play.
I just think that in terms of story arc for like character arcs and stuff, it just happens so over time that I think one of the rewarding things was Andor and Ivory's like last conversation, last session, where they're starting to become close friends and stuff like that, sharing a little bit background, because it's like what Eric was saying at the beginning. He's like, there were multiple times where he was like, okay, like we finished our job, I'm gonna leave now, peace out. Convince them to hang around a little bit more. Now it's like they have formed a close bond, which is like for Luca kind of more stressful, even though he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like me as a player. I'm like, oh shit, now they're best friends. God damn it. But hey, that character arc happens over time, because that was like over like what 20 sessions cut in half is like 10 months that we've been doing this, or a year.
I think you're right. I think we started in March last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it haven't even a year yet.
Yeah. So dude, I just like when that shit naturally curves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When that shit curves.
Yeah.
One thing with your character, so with my character and the backstory that I'm slowly building for him, which full discretion, I have yet to give the DM his full backstory.
Holy shit.
It has got to a point now I'm like,
What's going on?
it would be
you
nice
gotta-
to have a little bit more information.
You know the short-term story.
I got the short-term
Yeah,
stuff.
the short-term
yeah.
story. The long-term story is still hard to work, and I
Yeah.
want to work it so it's like it makes sense, and it still doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm like, all right, we got to adjust things here. But the short-term story, which I alluded to in the last session with Ivory about the whole assassination plot and everything,
Mm-hmm.
I like I don't even know how that fell together, because you created your character based off of no information, I think, of my character. That shit just
I know,
together.
dude. Yeah.
That blew my mind. That I was like, oh my god, my character did this. That's something that I thought wouldn't play into the overall timeline very much. Like outside of it just being like an excuse for why this happened. Turns out that another player in the party with no information exchanged between us
at all.
is now somehow entwined with my character's backstory.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, it was kind of nice to be able to do a little bit of backstory dump the last session with Ivory, to be like, hey, this is what I didn't even go into like detail what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, this is the gist. Like, I'm a one-in man. You want to hang out with me, kind of thing. Like,
It's like, don't freak out.
if not, now's a good time to get on the boat and go someplace else. So, but yeah, now that whole house of cards kind of collapsed, and that's been exposed. It's like whenever we have a run-in with your character again, that's like a whole thing, because your character was already like sniffing my character out from like day one, essentially. And it's just an interesting little turn of events, because like you don't know the backstory of my character. You just know what you know.
Which I still feel like Luca, the last shit he heard about was when we all were stopped by Theodoric before I did my review, because like he mentioned something about you, and then that's when my information got revealed, and then that was the last time I saw you aside from the prison camp or whatever, because I've been gone that whole time, so I still basically have no fucking clue, except for that one little tidbit that he got from Theodoric. So he still has like no fucking clue what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
I feel like Baron Sunblade probably knows more because he was with you after all that shit happened.
Well, I don't even think they knew, because I had explained that to...
Yeah, they don't know anything about
Ivory.
Andor.
Yeah.
Yeah, just your reactions post.
Yeah.
Because it is a good point. If you take the assumption that he didn't know who you were before Theodoric said that, there's still no chance for Luca in that time to have like any chance of like catching up, unless he went out of his way to talk to Theodoric, and he avoided Theodoric the entire walkthrough.
Yeah.
Just missed out on all kind of conversations, but that's beside the point.
Dude, I know. I'm mad at myself on the return episode.
That's right.
Because I was like, dude, because we had talked about chances to roleplay and stuff initially.
Yeah.
For the first half of the session, and I was like, it must have been like knocking the rust off or something, because I was just like, oh, let's go, dude. Like, let's see where we're going. Just walking, like. I
Going into the field.
Probably could be asking questions right now, just fucking walking. And, yeah, dude. I mean, I think Luke is still, like, in a way, without trying to reveal anything, like, in a way ashamed that he had to betray his 2 party members that he's been rolling around with for, like, 6 months or whatever, however long timeline we are. So, like, he's kind of in his own head, you know, after the initial capture, after the betrayal, because he's like, well, fuck, you know, I kind of fucked up, or, you know, like second guessing himself, basically. And then you have, you know, he's reacting to everything that's happening in real time after that. So I think it still works out because he's like, you know, not trying to talk to people.
I think it works out, yeah.
To Theodoric.
Plus, I mean, you're going to fall back into old habits when you get put back in a situation where you're not, like, the best form of yourself, so it makes sense.
Yeah, true. That is very true.
Yeah, without, again, saying so much.
Yeah, I'm trying not to, tiptoe around.
That's why I'm like, I'm trying to, like, talk about things, but also keep
I know. Both you got, everyone's just, like, kind of floating stuff here.
I just keep, the word kind is getting thrown around, like, kind.
So we're, like, in a kiddie pool, just like, On a non-Imora related discussion, though. Digital dice, baby. Did you check out the new dice?
I haven't seen it yet. How's it look?
The digital dice versus
the real dice?
Physical dice?
Yeah. It's not bad. They got like these aura dice, which look really cool when you roll them and make a noise, but they don't do any special effects. And then there's like a unicorn dice that I hadn't seen before. I figured to do that. And there's another one in between. It looks like fire or something. I haven't tested that out yet.
I got a bunch, but if you subscribe to D&D, the monthly subscription, they give you free dice.
Yeah, D&D Beyond.
So that's how I got the unicorn dice, and like I keep getting monthly whatever. So I'm like, oh, here's a new dice set. Like, but here the problem is like I will roll sometimes good with digital dice, bro. But I kind of prefer rolling with the real dice because I don't know why I feel like I have more control.
That's how I feel.
But I'm just like you know, I'm a gamer guy. I collect shit, digital shit. I'm not a physical collector. I collect shit online, and so skins in video games and shit. So skins, and if they got skins in something that I'm involved with, I'm probably gonna start spending money.
Dude, World of Warcraft was a fucking hit.
Yeah,
man.
exactly, dude.
Stop collecting shit on that game.
It's the same mindset for.
I got a little bit of that. Call of Duty with the guns.
Yeah. Oh yeah, skins on Call of Duty and all that.
Yep.
But I mean, I buy real dice, but it's like one, it's more expensive.
100%, yeah.
It's like 2 times, like a digital dice is like $5.99, I think. Or
and it just comes with your subscription.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah. They do have, like, I have bought dice outside of the subscription, you know, but it's like compared to what, $25.99 for a, you know, if you get like a metal dice set, which is, I like the heavy dice.
Same, I like the heavy ones.
So it's like those are more expensive, and then they, you know, it's like, well, I'm looking at these, like looking online, it's like I can't tell if I like this or not. Like it's it looks cool, but if I get it in person and it's bad, then it's like fuck. Because I bought some dice on before, and I just don't roll good with them. And
that's another thing too.
Yeah, and so it's like I feel like I wasted my money. I've been ignoring the catalog of digital dice I have. Feels like I wasted my money, but you roll digital though.
I roll digital. So the pre-campaign to campaign 1 with Mike.
Oh yeah.
I rolled physical only. When I had the option for digital, I would only roll physical, and I would roll all over the place. There's like that dice. What finally did me in was I rolled 2 natty ones on 2 separate D20s at the same time, and I was like, no.
Wow.
Like, fuck that.
At the same time. Holy
so that campaign didn't last. So in campaign 1, I was like, all right, I'm gonna roll digital. It's easy. It's simple. Like when Wolf was level 1, barbarian, literally from like level 1 to level 5, is like hit things, get hit. Get hit. There's no calculations or anything. It's just roll damage, like roll to hit, roll damage. There's nothing. No spells, nothing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to roll digitally because I can just sit here and like click one button and see what my outcome is. And it can get through me, and it takes like 10 seconds to do my character in the attack order.
True.
Then, as that campaign went on, I noticed I was like, I'm rolling really good. With that character, I rolled the most fucking natural 20s, I think, of any player in the history of D&D on that character.
Much.
You did roll very good.
I was rolling nat 20s left and right on both. It was stupid. But why I stayed with the digital dice was, why I'm staying with them with Andor is, I tend to create these characters that are like super complicated numbers wise, because there's something that I want to, like, I'm trying to create, like, I had a barbarian, but I was trying to create a barbarian that was a berserker barbarian, but also like Wolf. Like, I was trying to create this like image of him that I saw. So I'd have to pull from different feats and from like the fighter class and then the things within the fighter class and mix them with the barbarian class, and I end up with these, like, every attack round I'd have these like 8 conditional dice algorithms I'd have to figure out, and I'm like, okay, I'm rolling this to hit. Okay, I hit, so now I roll a d12, a d8, 2 d6s, a d4, another d8, and I'm like, okay, all that outcome is, all right, there's my damage. And it was just, it was a headache. Like, rolling physical dice with a complex character is, I get frustrated with sitting on my character, me trying to figure out my shit for like a couple minutes. So I'd rather just roll a slew of digital dice, get my outcome, and be like, all right, cool, we're on my character for like a minute, I did my thing, on to the next person, because I want to get through my thing and start calculating my next thing and figuring out what I'm going to do next. And with Andor, like, this campaign, I was like, I'm going to roll more physical dice. And a couple times I have rolled physical dice. But now with Andor, it was at, like, level 3. Well, we started at, what, level...
It
We
was...
started at 1, though, didn't we?
Did we start at level 1?
I think we started at 1.
Okay. I can't remember. But right off the rip, this character is exponentially more complex than Wolf, because not only is it, like, which round of combat are we on, are specific things that you can do, but within that round of combat there's like 6 conditional things that are like, okay, do I have this on the target, do I have this spell active, do I have it's like so many complex, like, little things that I'm pulling from them. Like, all right, we're just gonna go back to the digital dice, because I can go down the line and click however many dice I'm rolling and just fucking roll them and be done with it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. The more complex it gets, the more digital I go.
It's probably hard for you because you juggle so many characters.
Yeah, I actually have like specific dice that I do for the characters. So I'm like, okay, that one rolled this one, because I'll just fucking throw dice and make, oh, who am I rolling for here? Wait a second. There's like 6 dice and 6 characters, and I don't know which roll goes for which character. That kind of sucks. But if I'm like writing and everything, digital. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
I love rolling dice. And for me, I don't know about y'all, but for me, the main thing, aside from, it probably should be something we can talk about the next one, because I would love to get Kristen's input if she can join us, is what got you, like, sucked into the game. And for me, it was rolling dice. The first time I fucking rolled dice, I was like, bro, give me more. I want more. And it's the fun of... It's like the same thrill you get from, like, gambling.
I was gonna say, it's gambling, bro.
But it's not, like, money related.
It's like, there's no consequences.
There are.
Well,
and that's the exciting thing.
Yeah.
But you don't know the consequences exactly. And that's the exciting part. So for me, like, the rolling of the dice was a physical, and I could touch it, I could hold it in my hand. All I wanted to do was just fucking roll more dice all the time, dude. And I only have, until I got my DM set of, like, 1,000 damn like resin dice. I had like 2 sets,
Mm.
and those were my babies, and I loved them. I was like, just roll dice all the fucking time.
Mm.
So it was interesting whenever I started DMing more. I was like, oh, I have switched from physical. I play with physical during our session, but I roll digital all day
Yeah.
when I'm doing any other kind of work.
Yeah.
Especially with like what I'm doing right now is looking for like magic items and whatnot for the upcoming session. I was like, oh yeah, roll like a D100, roll like 4 D100s and tell you what magic items. I'm like, I'm not gonna do all that math. I'm just gonna hit the button on
Yeah,
the
that's
website
true.
and do it for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So
Yeah, I still, I got probably, I don't know, I'm just guessing off the top of my head, like 4 sets of dice that I've bought over the time of playing for how long we've been playing for, like 3 years, something like that.
it is great.
Mhm.
And my favorite, the dice I use the most is the first dice set I ever bought, because I always roll good with them. Every other dice I bought after, it's been hit or miss.
Yeah.
The OG,
That's
my
nice.
one true constant, baby. Just like you're saying, your 2 dice sets that you were always playing with. It's like I always am rolling that same D20, bro, because it normally hits for me.
Yeah.
So
It's also, that's really good too.
yeah.
For me, it's awesome to know what dice generally roll like shit and which ones generally roll a little bit more on the better side.
Yeah.
Because I have them. It's like if I need someone to like really flop, I'm like, all right, cool. There's higher chance of them flopping in the situation with these dice. Now, if they succeed, that's the way it works, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But it's cool because then I can kind of bend things a little bit more toward what I need them to do. But digital dice is a brain saver. Honestly, to me, that's one of the best parts about D&D Beyond. As much as a lot of players like to bitch and gripe about it, it's just made it so much easier to play and just kind of get off of that starting point of playing and just go.
For sure.
And I've loved that.
Because you can also use it whenever you're like making a character too. You can roll like on your app, bro. You can just like roll on, like, if you're like, shit, I don't have my dice right next to me.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, just do it on the app. You're good to go. You know?
Right.
So some people have superstitions and stuff about that, but like when
Sure.
you're doing your ability rolls and stuff like that, but.
Oh, 100%.
So, but yeah, the simplicity of it is definitely nice. And I don't know. I'm not super deep in the D&D world. I'm still like a new character, like I was semi-new player. Like I don't do like deep delves unless I get sucked into it. But the updates on the website they've been making, I feel like are better. Like they explain more stuff for some things.
I see what you're saying.
They add more explanations for items or actions or whatever, so it's a little bit easier for me. But
Yeah, plus, I mean, just the forums help to be
Yeah,
on there,
yeah.
just reading through everyone else's, like, oh, you've already figured this question out that I have, which
Yeah.
is it's great too.
for real, yeah.
It's nothing to do with dice, but whatever.
Yeah.
One day, I want to have our own dice. I got visuals of what I wanted them to look like and everything. Will I make them? I don't think so. Will I pay someone else to make them? Most likely, but I don't know
Absolutely.
when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't have the best luck with pouring my own resin.
Yeah, I'm a
You
metal
have
dice
a
guy.
vacuum cut for that.
Yeah.
And that's not cheap.
And that's my biggest issue is always the bubbles.
Yeah.
But that's actually funny though. My favorite dice is the one that I made. There's one hole in it on the natty one side too. I was like, that's fitting.
Yeah. That's funny.
Every now and then I'll roll this one.
Yeah.
But we've hit an hour, boys.
Some good combo. General discussion.
Okay, I was like, where's my time at? I couldn't find it at first. I was freaking out. And I was like, yeah, it's been about
The only other thing,
an hour 10. No, yeah, if there's anything else, we can keep going.
that getting into character thing, I thought was pretty funny. Like, what do you do to get into character?
Yeah.
Because I do have a good talking point on that.
One of the lists I sent them for us to talk about, since it was like the first time, we didn't really know what we were getting into, was how do you like get ready for, like, prep yourself for the session, get into character. So I'm interested to hear this.
My thing in campaign 1 with Wolf, if you watch for like over half the campaign, any session that we played as Wolf, I would not say a single word of that as that character until you spoke, because I would base Wolf's tone and like talking and everything off of Bren's, because Bren was a little bit more like loud, gruff, and like what's the word? Like extroverted than Wolf. So like Wolf was a little bit more like neutral, muted, and kind of like like airy. But if I just started into that voice without Bren, it would be Bren.
Yeah.
Like I would start doing the Bren sound. So I was like, no, I gotta wait for you to like talk so I can kind of like set Wolf's tone.
Yeah. Well, what about now though?
Oh, now I can roll in and out of Andor, just.
Yeah, because he's part you.
Yeah, I'm like, I can roll in and out of that tone 24/7. I can roll in and out of his personality 24/7. And like coming into a session, you're probably gonna laugh at this, but I'm like, I always ask myself, like the first situation I'm in, what would a raccoon do?
Oh my god.
Like that is
Raccoon King.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I base that man's reactions on like, if a raccoon was like self-conscious and like aware of its surroundings and like human intellect, what would a raccoon do? And I'm like, that's what Andor does.
Oh my god, it's hilarious.
So
yeah, I think Luca is definitely different because he's not like I've said before, he's a different personality than I would generally go for, because so like to get sometimes you know like with Brenner, you know, my general routine would be like on my way driving here, I would just be like doing Brenner voice and like like literally just in my car just like doing that shit, like basically trying to check my voice though to see if I could like get into the like how he would sound and stuff, and make sure that when we started that I was good to go, instead of doing the voice warm up like when the fucking session starts. With Luca, it's like he's not gruff, so he's very like he's the way I talk.
Flat.
He's flat. He's not enthusiastic. You know what I'm saying? So, dude, sometimes getting into him is harder for me, and it's like I don't really find my flow until after our first break, honestly. And it's like, you know, during the, you know, outside of our session, it's like during the week I'll be thinking about stuff, or I'll go back and listen to like a snippet to retain information. But to stay in the character, it's like I'll do the car practice, like generally that's like in the car on the way over here is like when I'll practice. But sometimes I'm like, dude, like what, like fuck, like I can't lock it in sometimes. And then as we played the game, so the one thing that's bothered me this entire time is that my voice, I think my voice has changed. Like from the beginning, I think he was talking, and then I kind of went with like a different tone of voice, like halfway between where we are now and the start. And then sometimes it's like I find myself talking in my normal voice.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you know, it's like, it's fantasy, it's role play, it's not supposed to be like, this is who you are. But at the same time, it's like, well, this is kind of who he is. So, you know, that's why I'm kind of okay with it. But, you know, sometimes he talks like this, you know, or he talks like, blah, blah, blah. But then sometimes I'll talk like this, you know, where it's not as like hush and like pushy, you know, like my voice. So sometimes finding them is a little bit harder this campaign.
Well, I think you chose a hard voice style. Like with Andor and with Brenlord, very iconic. Like both of you like nailed the most memorable voice for campaign 2 is Andor, hands down.
That's how you sound. That's how you sound. You're like French, bro.
It's not French. It's supposed to be like borderline Transylvanian Scandinavia.
Okay.
Like Northern European.
Yeah. I like
my
it though.
God.
I like the voice.
But it's easy to get into it because it's very specific. But trying to talk as a different person with their normal voice of talking is hard because you have all your normal intonations or you know what I mean. The specific enunciations, the way that you say certain things that are just so natural to you that's difficult to do that as another just like flat regular voice talking. So I'm like, I get it. It's a struggle for sure. Like even when I try to do like random like someone just trying to talk to you.
Yeah.
Like Wyrox.
Yeah.
The gigantic centaur guy.
Yeah.
Every now and then he would talk like this, and also like half your barmaids talk like this. So it's like, damn it.
Well, you just hit on something like, oh god, ADD brain, thank you.
Yeah, dude, all three of us here.
Oh yeah.
Gone
I'm
instantly.
focusing very hard right now.
You
You're doing a
hit
good
on
job.
something, and I wanted to elaborate on it, and it's in the brain, out there.
Picking a hard voice of talking like someone else.
Enunciation
Yeah.
of things. So like with Andor, so the first time I played him in like a group, I would say things like sister was like sister, and I'd pronounce the I as like an E. But now in this campaign, I'd probably be more like sister, same thing. However, other words like, oh fuck, I'm trying to think. Like so when I've said shit, I would say what the sheet. But I've also gone like what does she like it like the dialect, and I'm trying to find like this happy medium with like when we first started playing I was laying into his accent heavy, like it was hard to, it would leave me with like a little bit of a headache after each game trying to like stay in that character. Then there's like a point where it's just like talking as my normal self with just a little bit of accent. Now I've gone back to this like almost like an in-between where there's like when he gets really amped up, accent gets like really heavy. When he's more relaxed, he's much more clear.
I like that.
And I like it too because I'm like, okay, so his wood elven enunciation of things, when he gets really emotional and amped up, I feel like his what's the word? Accent comes out a lot more because he's almost like going into his native, what he's saying, like native language, versus when he's really relaxed and he can think about what he's saying, he's much clearer to understand because he's not like emotional amped up, like he's not thinking as much about his emotions and more about what he's saying and how he's saying it. So that's where I'm like, I kind of like where I've gotten with him now, like when everything's chill and we're just having normal conversation, he has a little bit of an accent, but he's much more understandable. When he gets really charged up about something, that's where I start like laying into it like really hard, where it's really hard to understand him. And his thoughts are like kind of like in weird places and stuff, and
stuttering a bit.
Yeah, and that's I kind of like it because it's like his brain is just like overwhelmed with the emotion, so he's just kind of like spewing nonsense, and it's been fun doing that. Versus why I like his accent is because, like, I'm the tone that I'm talking in right now, I'm not going up or down, like I'm not trying to like make myself sound higher pitched or lower pitched or anything like that. I'm just talking normally, and then I just throw like a little bit of a accent into it, and it's easy.
Dude,
with
that's
Wolf,
great.
the character's so good, bro. I think I appreciate your character's personality already. And then now that we're talking about it, I'm just like, dude, that is so, like, it's just peak.
Well, and now you'll, like, catch on to it when we're playing. You'll notice, like, oh, well, like, I can't understand what this motherfucker's saying. It's because his character's, like, getting, like, amped up. But what I hate about playing Wolf so much is I tried to make him sound lower than my normal voice because I was like, I'm not a big dude. I'm, like, $175 wet. So
Same.
Yeah, I'm not like a big barrel-chested like dude who can talk really low pitch, or it's just naturally really low pitch. I'm kind of higher pitch naturally, so trying to play like a big like 6'10", like 280-pound just brick shit house of a character with this voice wouldn't make any sense. Like you'd see this guy out in public and this voice came out of him, you'd be like, what's wrong with you?
Nothing.
Yeah, what's going on here? So I always tried to make his voice sound a little bit lower, and by doing so I made it sound a little bit more airy, because it kind of like
you could breath it out of it.
Yeah, it kind of made it a little bit easier. But it's like if you listen to Wolf's voice from like the start of that campaign to the end, it sounds like I played it back to myself because I thought it would be silly one day. I was just like, what's the first session that we ever played?
Yeah.
I listened to my voice in that session, and then what's the last session that we played? I was like, wow, the character changed a lot.
I believe it.
But, and that's why I touched on, like, I wouldn't say anything until you say anything, because it was that hard to set his voice. And I remember driving around town, like, yelling at traffic and shit, just like in Wolf's voice, and I was like, this makes no sense, because the character just never gets angry about anything. He's just very like matter of fact about. He never got angry, like he got angry when people attacked his friends or whatever, but he never got like angry in a conversation. He was just very like reverse of a berserker. He would be like very calculated and very like conversational. And then with Andor, when I'm in traffic, I mean, it's great. I just turn into this like raging little spitfire of like, yeah, exactly. It's like the not so for you. It's audience.
Bro, you do. I think I already do appreciate it in game, because it's like that's just who your character is.
Yeah.
So when you act like that, I'm less like, oh, this man freaking out.
Yeah,
like I don't. It doesn't register on the back end of like, oh, he's fluctuating. He's adding this at this time. Like it just lines up the character so naturally. So that's why it's like, dude, the Andor accent is fucking good.
Yeah.
Well, and for a little while, I was like thinking maybe I should drop it, because I was like listening to it for some time. I was like, it's kind of annoying.
I think it's just you.
But it's just
No,
I think you're just.
I know what you mean.
Hey,
I know
fuck
what
you.
No, man, you're just no. No, I know what you mean. But yeah, like I listened to it, I'm like, oh, it's a little annoying. But that's where for a little while I kind of like dialed it back, and then I was like, no, I don't need to dial it back. I need to make it more of like, hey, this dude who has only ever spoken Elven and learned Common and other languages as a second language, what would anybody else do that, like, say, learn, like, French as their first language? They would be able to speak it very fluent and very quickly, and they would have a little bit of accent, but they can speak other languages, but it would be a little bit more metered and a little bit more, like, emotionless and thought out, because they're having to think about the translation and what they're saying, and if they're enunciating things clear enough that like a native speaker can understand it, which is like where Andor is essentially, is he's just like speaking Common to everybody when it's not his first language, it's like his second or third language. So yeah, when he gets like super emotional, that's why I just love to like lay into it and be like, oh, we're gonna make sure that nobody can understand a fucking word of what this man is saying.
That's perfect. Well, now I'm thinking, do you have another character that you're planning on next already, or no?
Oh, for like a campaign 3? I do. Like, I've always got a character that, like, even my replacement character should or explode into a million pieces or some shit. Like, God, I've always wanted to play like a fighter. But even then, I'm like dabbling with the idea of kind of like a fighter warlock thing, so like a Eldritch Knight.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like trying to piece that together, because it's very. I like to play characters that are very like physical damage related. That's why like Wolf was just like, oh god, I didn't think I'd love playing that character as much as I did. I loved playing that character because it feels so good to come into a situation and just be like, I don't have to rely on spells or anything. I just start hitting shit.
It is the good life, man.
Yeah, you just
Not having
hit
these
shit.
spells is the simpler the gameplay, the more fun I have. I feel like I don't know, it's just
because you don't have to think about it as much. You just you just play the game.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to think about how to play the game. You just play it.
Yeah. No
But
worries
with-
about your HP or whatever.
Yeah, and with Andor, it's like a mixture of physical and magic, where with him, it's like magic is kind of like a supporting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I wanted to, I could just go an entire round of, like, an entire combat scenario just shooting my bow, and I would do a fuckload of damage, but I can throw magic on there to make it easier to do a fuckload of damage. So it's kind of more of like a supporting thing versus like a characteristic of the class.
Mm-hmm.
But just having that little bit of magic is just like difficult. Like it's not how my brain processes things.
Yeah.
So playing an Eldritch Knight would be even harder because it's like, well, now it's like, okay, you do physical damage, but the big bulk of your damage comes from like the spells and crap that you tack on.
Yeah.
So, but just playing that character and like what I wanted to do with them is like, I don't know. I really want to.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I want to create a character like that, but yeah.
Sounds a lot like playing a paladin.
Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, the paladin is like, you can use magic. I
Yeah.
just found myself chopping dudes with my sword more frequently than. But it was also my first time playing, so I think I didn't understand the dynamics of using magic in correlation with the melee. So if I did it now, it might be a little bit more smooth. But I don't know. I mean, the more simple, I think the easier the enjoyment. But
I get you, for real.
I don't know. There's a challenge, not a challenge, but it's also good to kind of like play other roles to see what is out there possibility wise in the game and stuff. Because you might find something else you like. Like I think, like I said, I enjoy Monk more than Paladin right now. So
good move.
I don't know what the fuck my next character is gonna be, dude. I had a character in mind for this campaign, and then it just devolved into Luca. Like it like completely changed personality wise. So maybe I'll try and make it work for the next one. But I was like trying to make like a manic
Oh yeah.
a manic character where he's like kind of like just he kind of like a little bit more like Andrew, where he talks like, I don't know, like mad scientist kind of vibe is like what I was considering. Whereas like he just does whack, like he's unpredictable. He'll fucking do something crazy in a moment where like, bad idea, and you're like, ooh, you know, go. So
Good news,
yeah. So I don't know if I'll revisit that or not. I think I was having a hard time finding a story for him or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it was more about making a fun character. But then I had the Luca storyline, which I was like, I don't know, it just took over. I think what I wasted, not wasted, but I think if I would have brought Brandon Buckingham into a campaign, he would have been a good character long term, because
Brandy Buckingham.
when we were playing him in the short
Shortest of shorts.
yeah, I was like, dude, I'm enjoying this character. He's all about gold, you know. He's not a mean guy. He'll do what needs to be done. He was fun to play. He was fun to play for sure.
Well, I mean, his characters are
Could bring him back.
disposable. You
Could
can
bring him
always kill your own character if you want.
Could bring him back maybe in the future.
When in doubt, just kill your character.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. If Andor dies, it's like, it'll be frustrating. Like, I really do love that character, and I think hits very close to home. So he's very like, easy for me to play. But the next character, like I'm talking about, with that Eldritch Knight, and with that character, I want to do like kind of like a smooth, almost British accent. With it.
Oh my god,
Just
we
like
might need to get that dude to show up.
just very like prim proper,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like his
yeah.
fighting style is very like duelish.
Nice.
Oh,
That's
dude,
why
keep that dude in the back pocket, bro.
Yeah, well, no, that's
I
why
like
I'm
to
like,
see
I've
him.
always got a character on the back burner just in case, but, yeah, it's like one of those situations where I'll think about him and playing him, I'm like, oh, should I just let Andor go and play him? But
There's no way, dude, because you've
Too early.
been waiting to keep Andor.
Yeah,
You've
yeah, I've been
for
waiting to get
Andor.
this character to level, like high level, because God, every level after the next one is just like, the fuck is going? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Shit, dude. Hell yeah.
It's exciting.
All right. It's time for us to end it.
Yeah, we're good.
Good chats, everyone.
Good
Thank you
chat.
for
Good
joining
chats.
us. Hope you enjoyed listening. Hope you related to whatever we were talking about. Remember, if you want to support us in any way, the best way to do it is to buy yourself something cool.
Oh yeah.
We have a website with
Oh,
things that we've designed, like this. Can you see it?
Shit's fire.
This
dude.
is my hoodie. It's super soft. I absolutely love it. We have shirts, mugs, hoodies. I'll be adding more stuff up there. Get yourself something cool. It's the best way to support us, aside from just watching and listening, obviously, which love you. I don't know what this is me like throwing my lips to you. Anyway, we're calling it on that one. I'll see you guys later.